There's big news for renters in the city. A new program is aiming to simplify the housing market and ban broker fees.
And the changes could save tenants a lot of money. CBS 2's Scott Rapoport explains how it works.
A potential seismic shift in the New York City rental market. Expensive broker fees commonly paid by tenants when renting an apartment to landlord-hired brokers, which can be as high as 15% of the first-year lease, are now effectively banned. New guidance from the New York Department of State in Albany, which regulates real estate brokers, said landlords who hired brokers will now have to pay the fees instead of their tenants. Supporters say the move would give relief to tenants who previously not only had to pay the broker fee, but also 1 month's rent up front as a security deposit.
These are overdue consumer protections.
Michael McKee is with the tenants' rights group Tenant Pact and says it's a win for cash-strapped renters trying to find housing they can afford.
It's going to make it easier for regular working people to find a place to live.
But real estate brokers, who could still collect a fee if the tenant hired them to look for the apartment, say if the landlords end up footing the bill, they're only going to pass on the cost to the tenant.
If the apartment rents for $3,000, the tenant historically has paid the commission. This rent is now going to be $3,200, $3,300 a month.
Not if it's a rent-regulated apartment. They can't. They can't jack up the rent.
Opponents of the move, like the Rent Stabilization Association, say this is putting an undue burden on the backs of the landlord.
It's just another act by government to take away the tools that owners need to effectively provide housing for the people in New York City, and they need it desperately.
As for how the new broker guidance would be enforced, we reached out to the Department of State, but have yet to hear back. Meanwhile, the Real Estate Board of New York, or REBNY, is exploring legal action challenging the move, excluding tenants from having to pay broker fees. This as Mayor Bill de Blasio announced the first steps towards reducing the amount of security deposit tenants must pay landlords in city-financed homes. The mayor proposing a plan that would offer renter security insurance, allowing small monthly payments or a smaller single payment up front in lieu of a full 1-month deposit. All this in what has become an ever-changing and divided New York City rental market. In Williamsburg, Brooklyn, Scott Rapoport, CBS 2 News.
The big change in the broker fees is a revision to a sweeping rent reform law that was passed last year.